And today we are going to see how we can extend Microsoft 365 Copilot chat with Microsoft Copilot Studio. And the content we are going to see today is part of the Copilot Developer Camp, which is a set of training materials and videos that you can use to learn how to extend Microsoft 365 Copilot with different technologies, pro code, low code, and all of the options available. ak.ms/copilot.camp is the URL where you can find additional content and all the training material. And just to give you an idea, we cover in that training material different areas, whether you are a developer with a pro code approach or whether you are a maker with a low code or no code approach. We will get you covered. And today we are in the area of Copilot Studio and MCS, which is the pathway where you can learn how to extend Copilot with Microsoft Copilot Studio. We also released a video with 23 labs in 14 minutes, basically. So we give you an overview of all of the pathways so that you can make a choice about what you want to dig into. And of course, we encourage you to dig into everything. And as such, we also encourage you to complete all of the learning pathways so that you can earn a badge for each of them. Right now, we have the make, the extend, and the build path. And if you will complete all of them, you will also get the Path Master. And if you will also provide a sample to the community to show that you learned a bunch of stuff, you will become a sample sensei. And this is an initiative which will end the 20th of May, and it will target just the very first 200 community members. So make it happen, learn, go to the labs, and have fun learning about how to extend Copilot. But now let's move to the actual demo of today. And as such, I'm moving to my demo environment to show you what I'm going to talk about. So today we are creating extensions for Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat using Copilot Studio. And when we want to do that in the Copilot Dev Camp, we have a specific lab, which is the number 4, MCS4, where you can find all of the detailed instructions that you can follow to extend your own Copilot Chat. Now, what I'm going to do is to do it from scratch together with you. And we are going to see two different options. One is the one based on creating a so-called declarative agent. So an agent that can easily extend the Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat with a set of predefined functionalities. In order to do that, you simply need to go to the agent section of Copilot Studio. And from there, you select Copilot for Microsoft 365. Here you can create as many agents as you like. Here I have already one that I created before, but I'm now going to create a new one from scratch. You click on Add, and you provide either using a conversational approach or just by configuring the settings of your agent, you are going to define what the agent will do. So here with the conversational model, I can simply specify, for example, that this is an agent helping employees to find information about HR policies and procedures and about how to improve their career and define their learning pathways. This is the basic set of instruction for my agent. And my agent will also need to have a name, so could be community HR, just for the sake of providing a name. And I can also eventually provide additional information about how the agent should behave. So for example, I can say that I want to emphasize everything which is about building inclusion and growth mindset, and so on and so forth. And I can provide step-by-step all of the information to build the identity of my agent. And once I'm done with that, I can simply click on the Create button and get my agent created. It takes a while, and I will get back the UI of an agent in Copilot Studio with just the functionalities that we can have in a declarative agent for Microsoft 365 Copilot. So in a matter of few seconds, you will see the output, and we will see that we can recognize the definition and the instructions for the agent that I created, as well as a set of actions if I want to add any action, and a set of knowledge base. So here we have the agent, we have the description and the instruction for the LLM model that we are using undercover. We can define a knowledge base. And so, for example, here I have a document library with a set of documents about HR, and I want to use that document library as the knowledge base. So I add a SharePoint knowledge base, I browse for files, or I can simply copy and paste the URL of the site. And when I browse for files, I can select, for example, the target library that I want to use, which is the one I just showed you. I confirm the selection and I add this knowledge base to my agent. And simply by doing that, I will be able to run this agent inside Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat. As you can see, I can choose if I want to also rely on external content on the web or not. And I can refine the starter prompt that got already pre-generated using AI by the Microsoft Copilot Studio engine. Now I can click on the Publish button, and I will make my agent available in the Copilot Chat and in Teams. Of course, I can, again, refine the descriptions and the URLs right here. Right now, just for the sake of saving some time, I'm just publishing the agent as it is. And after a few more seconds, we will be able to get access to our agent, as I said, both in Teams as a bot-like agent and in the Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat. As I told you before, the agents can also be enriched using actions so that we can consume data and APIs from external services through Power Platform connectors, as I will show you shortly in the upcoming section of this demo. It should be almost there, so bear with me and wait a few more seconds, and we should be able to see the agent in action, both in Teams and in Copilot Chat. So let's see if it gets there. Almost there, hopefully, and then we can play with it. Unfortunately, I cannot control this time, and in a demo with a tight schedule, we always need to wait, which is a pity. But let's see if it will come up. Come on, we're all waiting for you. And in the meantime, I can eventually open another Copilot Studio window and show you the other agent, just for the sake of saving some time in the meantime. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, hopefully this one will come. Well, this one is ready, so we can go back to the previous one, and I'll come back to the additional demo later. Let me just copy the link to get access to my agent, and what I can do now, I can show you that it has been published in Teams and Copilot, and I can open a new tab and use the URL that I just copied to actually add this agent to my target environment. So by doing that, I can select the Add button, and I can add, as I said, this agent both to Teams and to Copilot, Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat. By adding the agent, it will create and register all the needed stuff in both of the environments. And now I am in Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat, and I can refresh the list of agents and being able to see that we have our community HR available right here in our environment. So I can, for example, provide a prompt like, how can I hire new people in my company or in our company? And by doing that, I'm triggering the behavior of my agent based on the instructions that I provided, and I can get back information, including references to documents that I have in my document library. And that's already really cool, in my opinion. And as you can see here, we have the reference to the documents in SharePoint Online. But as I said, we can do more. For example, we can create still such kind of agents using Copilot Studio, but providing additional behavior, like, for example, here where we have an agentic HR that I still created, as I was telling you, in Copilot Studio. Let me switch to the right environment, and let me show you what we have inside that agent. Let me go to the agents again, and let me go to Copilot for Microsoft 365. And here we have the agentic HR that I was showing you a few seconds ago. In this one, I still have the same knowledge base as before, but I also created a couple of actions related to external connectors that I have in the Power Platform. For example, here I have a connection to an Excel file that is stored in SharePoint Online, and which provides information about an hypothetical list of candidates that I want to interview for a job role. Wonderful. So now let's say that I want to interact with this agent. What I can do is simply trigger the behavior of this agent, providing prompt like, for example, show me the list of candidates for HR with role HR director or HR manager. By doing that, I'm going to trigger this agent to consume an external API, the Excel Online API. I will need to allow this agent to connect to the external API, and I will be able to get back from the Excel spreadsheet only those candidates who are matching the search criteria of being HR director or HR manager. And we can validate this rule simply by opening the Excel file one more time, and we can see that we have some HR manager and HR directors in my Excel file. This is really cool. But again, we can do more. What if we want to create what we usually call a custom engine agent still using Copilot Studio? Well, we can go back to the home of Copilot Studio, and we can go to agents and create a new agent. This time, I'm going to create an agent almost like before, but I'm going to add additional capability to this agent. So again, let me use the same description. Let me use a different name, which could be, for example, because I'm a developer, community HR 2, because as I said, I'm a developer, I have no fantasy. So this will be the name of my agent. I can still provide instructions and hints to behave properly. And for example, information about how it should behave and should talk with the user. And once I've done with that, I can create my agent as like as before. But this time, I'm creating an agent with the whole set of capabilities available in Copilot Studio, which means that, for example, we can also create not only actions, but also topics. So again, here, let me show you how I created the action to consume the external Excel spreadsheet. So for the sake of making an example, let me add a new action which will consume a list of rows present in a table in my Excel file. And by doing that, I will also provide a set of settings for this action. And of course, first of all, I need to connect to Excel Online to benefit of this capability. So the name of the action will be list HR candidates, and the description will be, for example, list candidates for an HR role. I can add this action. And by editing the action, actually, I can even do that from this UI, I can configure the input arguments for this action, which is actually based on a Power Platform connector for Excel. So what I want to do is to provide the location of the site where I want to get the file from, and this will be the URL of my site. I can choose to configure manually the document library, which is the library of candidates in my target site. I want to provide the name of the Excel file that I want to use to read all of the candidates, and I want to manually provide the name of the table that I want to use to read all of the candidates, which is automatically pre-populated by Copilot Studio. I can save this action, and I'm going to use this action together with a topic that I'm going to create right now with you in order to create a really nice experience in Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat. So let me switch to topics, and let me also create a topic. But before doing that, let me enable the generative orchestration for this agent, which means that the agent will be able to rely on GenAI to better understand the prompts provided by the user with natural language and to identify the target topics and actions to trigger. So let me now create from blank a new topic for this agent. And for example, the description of this topic will be the following one. This topic allows to add a new candidate for a new position and targets HR employees. It can be triggered with sentences like register a new candidate, add a new candidate, create a new candidate, and so on and so forth. And what I want to do in this topic is actually to collect the information about the user, about the candidate, using an adaptive card. So I'm going to add an ask with adaptive card action. And I'm going to provide the JSON of the adaptive card in the settings of this action. You will find all of the source code in the Copilot Dev Camp, so I don't need to dig into any detail of the actual file structure. But basically, this is the JSON of an adaptive card to collect these three strings and a multi-choice field to get the skills of the user and to submit the content. By submitting the content, in the topic in which we are, we have automatically generated a few variables that we can use to collect and process the input provided by the user. And what we are going to do to process the input is to invoke an external action, which will rely on a Power Automate flow that I created. And in this Power Automate flow, I'm going to add a new row to the Excel spreadsheet that I showed you before. So the first name of the candidate will be taken from the variable that I have in my topic, and the same applies for the last name and for the role. But now we can also process the list of skills, which is actually a multi-choice field. So here we need to apply a formula, and the formula will say that we want to concatenate all of the values of the skill field with a comma in between, and we want to have it converted to text. By doing that, we're going to trigger a flow in Power Automate, which will actually insert a row in the flow, in the spreadsheet, sorry. Then we can also say that we are done with our topic, so we want to send a message to the user, and the message will be that the new candidate was successfully added. Then we can end the topic, and we say end current topic. And that's it. We can save this topic, and we can say that it will be register a new candidate. This will be the name of my newly created topic. Now I have an agent with topics, with actions, with rich capabilities. And what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to publish this agent and to make it available in Copilot chat. So let me switch back to the agent right now by doing this, and I will be able to publish my agent. So let's do that right now. Hit on publish, wait a few seconds to get the agent published in the environment where I am. And once I'm done with the initial publishing, we can go to the channel sections, and we can enable the channel for Teams and Microsoft 365 Copilot chat. And we are almost there. We are almost close to the end of this demo. So matter of a few seconds to wait for the publishing to happen. We should be almost there. And as I said, once we are done, we can go to channels. We can select Teams plus Microsoft 365. And in here, we can choose to make this agent available also in Microsoft 365 Copilot chat. By doing that, and by clicking on Add Channel, we can wait a few seconds, and we will need to publish the agent again. This is a requirement. So you publish the agent, you enable the Teams and Microsoft 365 channel, you publish the agent one more time, and once you are done with that, you can get access to the agent through both Teams and Microsoft 365 Copilot chat. And what I'm going to show you is the experience in the Copilot chat. So again, few more seconds to wait, and then we will be ready to play with our agent inside Microsoft 365 Copilot. And this will behave like a custom engine agent in the Copilot chat experience. So let me go back to the channel. We can see that it has been published. We can select availability options, and we can copy the link as we did before. But now, let me paste this new link. I want to stay in the web experience, and I'll be able to add this Community HR2 agent to both Teams and Microsoft 365 Copilot chat. The Teams experience will be the one of a bot-like agent. So by clicking open, you will be brought to this experience, and the agent is going to give me a welcome message. And if I will switch to the Copilot chat experience, and I will start from scratch, let me refresh this page, we should be able to see that we have our Community HR2 agent. Now, the interesting part is that I can trigger the add new candidate command, for example, topic, sorry. And by doing that, this prompt will actually activate my agent, and the agent will provide me back the adaptive card to collect the information about the candidate I want to add. So the candidate could be myself, just for the sake of simplicity. And I would be an HR manager for the sake of making an example, and I am a project manager and a team lead. By clicking on the Submit button, now we need to connect to the connector we want to use. So the connector will be and we need to click to select connect, will be Excel Online and will be the Power Platform 1. So let's connect to the first one. And here we are. And we need to submit the connection request. And then let's connect to Excel also through the Power Automate flow right here, still by clicking on the submit button. Now that I'm done with both of the connections, almost done, we can go back to Copilot and we can retry. Every now and then, when you do the connection and you are too fast in retrying, it will give you an exception. If that will be the case, we can simply refresh the page and try again. Let's see what happens. And if not, and it worked actually, so I was not that fast, I was able to register my new candidate. And as such, if I go back and make a prompt to get the list of candidates in HR director or HR manager role, I will be able to get back myself in that list. And I can also show you that because in the Excel file now I have a new row with my name and with my role. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this demo and you learned something useful. Thank you for listening, and back to you, Vesa.